You've entered Interstellar Chronicles. Close your eyes and drift into another world, a place where stars whisper forgotten names, where time folds and destinies collide across galaxies. Your journey begins now. Catlike alien warrior mocked the human. His heart left her speechless HFY sci-fi story. The stars burned cold above Clithera, a planet of jagged crystal spires that clawed at the heavens like the talons of some ancient, cosmic beast, their prismatic facets fracturing the molten glass shimmer of the sky into a kaleidoscope of violets, golds, blues, crimsons, and silvers that danced like liquid fire across the horizon, casting ever-shifting patterns over the sprawling market square of Elithar, a place where light and shadow wove a tapestry of alien splendor. The air thrummed with the low, resonant hum of alien machinery, a symphony of a civilization that had mastered gravity, time, and the very essence of existence. Their technology woven into the planet's core like veins in a living body, pulsing with a life of its own, a heartbeat that echoed through the crystal spires and the floating cities above. Elithar, the beating heart of the Clitheran Dominion's trade network, was a chaotic labyrinth of floating stalls, each glowing with bioluminescent wares. Fruits pulsing with inner light like miniature stars, their skins shimmering with hues that seemed to breathe, exhaling faint wisps of luminescent mist that curled into the air. Fabrics that flowed like water under starlight, woven from threads that captured the sky's prismatic glow, rippling with colors that shifted with every glance, as if alive, and technology that hummed with a sentience all its own. From data crystals that whispered secrets in forgotten tongues to drones that danced in perfect synchronicity. Their movements a ballet of precision that seemed to defy the chaos around them. The Clitherans, a species of sleek, feline beings, moved through the chaos with predatory grace, their luminous skin shifting in hues of blue, green, violet, silver, and pearlescent white, their slitted eyes glinting like polished gems, amber, emerald, sapphire, obsidian, or molten gold, their tails swaying in rhythm with their emotions. Sharp flicks for irritation, slow curls for curiosity, rigid stillness for anger, gentle brushes for something softer, something unspoken, something rare. Their empire, spanning a dozen star systems, saw itself as the pinnacle of evolution, a civilization of near-immortal beings who viewed the human delegation, invited for a diplomatic summit, as little more than a curiosity. A fragile, emotional species whose soft flesh and fleeting lives marked them as inferior, barely worth a glance in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Their presence in Elithar a fleeting amusement at best, a test of patience at worst, a challenge to the Clitherans unyielding. Breather. They called it a summit, but it was a grand masquerade. The narrator's voice, warm and resonant with a trace of wry humor, begins. A stage for the Clitherans to flaunt their perfection before a species they deemed primitive. A fleeting amusement in their eternal dance of discipline and control. A performance to reaffirm their place at the apex of existence. Yet, in the vibrant chaos of a market square, one man, ordinary, unassuming, a speck in their crystalline world, would kindle a fire that would reshape the stars themselves, a flame that would burn through centuries of arrogance and ignite something eternal, something that defied the cold logic of the void, something that whispered of hope, of connection, of a truth that no lattice could quantify. The human delegation's shuttle had landed hours earlier on a platform of polished obsidian, its clunky engines coughing and sputtering against Clither's gravitic field, a stark contrast to the Clitheran skiffs that glided like whispers through the air, their hulls glowing with the same bioluminescence as their pilots, their curves mimicking the organic grace of their creators, their movements silent and serene, as if the air itself parted to make way for their elegance. Among the diplomats, scientists, and soldiers was Elias Kane, a 32-year-old logistics officer who faded into the background like a shadow in a storm, unnoticed amid the grandeur of Elithar, his presence as unremarkable as a single grain of sand on a vast, shimmering shore. Average height, average build, with tousled brown hair that fell into his eyes and hazel irises that carried a quiet, unspoken weight. A weight born of countless small battles fought not with weapons but with persistence, with ingenuity. With heart, Elias was no hero, no legend, no figure of galactic renown. His job was to manage the mundane, fuel cells, medical kits, food rations, ensuring the delegation's survival on an alien world where every glance, every flick of a clitoran tail, every pulse of their glowing skin reminded him of humanity's perceived inferiority, a reminder that cut deeper than any blade. He was not here to make history, but the universe, with its penchant for irony, had other plans, and it would unfold them in the bustling heart of Elithar's market, where the air was thick with the sense of alien spices, the hum of gravitic fields, the whispers of 1,000 transactions, the pulse of a world alive with possibility, and the faint electric tension of a story waiting to be told. The market square was a sensory assault, a labyrinth of floating stalls where clitorans bartered with neural link efficiency, their minds connected through invisible lattices that allowed communication faster than thought, their transactions seamless, their decisions precise, their glows pulsing in sync with their intent, a silent symphony of intent and action that seemed to hum with the planet's own heartbeat. Their feline forms, lithe, with retractable claws that clicked softly when extended, and tails that signaled every mood, were both elegant and intimidating. Their fur shimmering in shades of silver, midnight blue, soft gold, pearlescent white, or deep crimson, catching the prismatic light of the sky like a living canvas, each strand seeming to hum with energy, each movement a testament to their engineered perfection. Their eyes, slitted like those of a cat, gleamed with intelligence and faint amusement as they watched the humans stumble through their world, their tails flicking with condescension, their ears twitching in mockery, their glows brightening with predatory glee, their claws flexing as if to remind the newcomers of their place, their inferiority, their fragility. Elias, sent to procure power cells compatible with human technology, navigated the chaos with a battered data pad, its screen flickering as he deciphered alien measurements and currency, his brow furrowed in concentration, his fingers tracing the unfamiliar symbols, his mind racing to bridge the gap between human need and clitoran excess, his heart steady despite the weight of their scorn. His plain gray jumpsuit stood out like a smudge against the market's vibrancy, its fabric worn and patched, a testament to human resourcefulness in the face of scarcity, its simplicity a stark contrast to the clitoran's shimmering elegance, its faded color a silent rebellion against their perfection. His human clumsiness drew smirks from vendors who saw him as an easy mark, their tails curling with amusement, their ears swiveling to catch his every misstep, their glows flaring with smug satisfaction, their claws tapping rhythmically as they calculated their profits, their eyes glinting with the certainty of their superiority. He was an anomaly in their world, the narrator muses, a soft creature stumbling through a sea of elegance, his every step a reminder of his species' fragility, his every word a challenge to their assumptions, his very presence a quiet rebellion against their perfection, a spark in the darkness of their certainty. But one pair of eyes, sharp, amber, unyielding, found him, and the universe tilted on its axis, as if the stars themselves held their breath, waiting for the spark to ignite, for the flame to catch, for the chaos to become something more, something eternal, something that could burn through the void itself. Commander Vera Thalis, leader of the Clitoran Honor Guard, stood at a stall inspecting a shimmering blade, its edge humming with contained energy, a weapon as beautiful as it was deadly, its surface reflecting the molten sky above in a cascade of colors that seemed to pulse with life, a mirror to the fire in her soul. Her armor gleamed like liquid starlight, molded to her lithe form, accentuating the curve of her shoulders, the graceful arc of her spine, and the sway of her tail, which curled with impatience as she tested the blade's balance, her movements precise, almost ceremonial, a dance of strength and control that spoke of centuries of discipline, of battles won, of worlds conquered. Her fur, a cascade of silver and midnight blue, caught the prismatic light, shimmering like a nebula, its texture soft yet fierce, a perfect blend of elegance and strength, each strand seeming to glow with its own inner light, a testament to her engineered perfection. Her claws, retracted but ever present, tapped rhythmically against the stall's edge, a subtle sign of her restless energy, while her amber eyes, slitted and piercing, surveyed the market with the confidence of one who had never known doubt, her ears swiveling to catch every sound, every whisper of trade, every murmur of the crowd, her glow pulsing with authority, a beacon of command in the chaos of Elithar. To Vera, Humans were a fleeting amusement, their emotions a chaotic flaw, their lives too brief to matter in the grand calculus of the Dominion. Their presence in Elithar a test of her patience, a distraction from her true purpose as a warrior, as a guardian of Ithra, assigned to monitor the human delegation. A task she found beneath her centuries of training, honed through battles across star systems, her claws stained with the victories of a dozen worlds, her tail rigid with the weight of her duty. She moved through the market with purpose, her tail flicking sharply, her ears alert for any sign of trouble, her glow a beacon of command that bent the light around her. Her gaze fell on Elias, haggling awkwardly with a vendor over a power cell's price, his datapad clutched tightly, his posture tense but resolute, his hazel eyes focused despite the chaos around him, his fingers steady as he navigated the unfamiliar terrain of Clitheran trade, his mind racing to find truth in the numbers. The vendor, a Clitheran with a sneering grin, his fur a dull green that seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it, inflated the price, his tail curling with mockery as he exploited Elias's ignorance of their currency system, his ears twitching with amusement, his glow flaring with predatory glee, his claws tapping as if counting his profits, his eyes glinting with the certainty of an easy mark. Elias, undeterred, pulled out a small human-made tool, a multi-scanner he jury-rigged from spare parts, its casing scratched and dented but functional, a testament to human ingenuity born of necessity, its lights flickering as it hummed to life, a faint buzz that cut through the market's hum like a whisper of defiance. He scanned the cell, his brow furrowed, his fingers steady despite the vendor's disdain, his hazel eyes narrowing as he studied the readings, his mind racing to parse the data, to find truth in the chaos, to hold his ground in a world that mocked him. "Your output's overstated," he said, his voice calm but firm, meeting the vendor's slitted eyes without flinching, his posture steady despite the weight of the Clitheran scorn, a quiet strength radiating from him, a spark that burned in his hazel eyes. "It's worth half what you're asking. I'll pay that and not a credit more. Numbers don't lie. Even in Clitheran, even in Elithar, even under your sky." The vendor's glow dimmed, his ears twitching in irritation, his tail lashing as if struck, his claws flexing briefly before retracting, his sneer faltering under the weight of Elias's calm certainty, his confidence shaken by the human's unyielding resolve. The market stilled, Clitheran eyes turning to the scene, their tails pausing midsway, their claws flexing with curiosity, their glows flickering with surprise, their ears swiveling toward the human who dared to challenge their system, their world, their perfection, their very existence. Vera approached, her tail whipping sharply, her claws half extended, her fur bristling slightly, her presence commanding the air like a storm about to break, her amber eyes narrowing to slits, her ears pinned back slightly, her glow pulsing with authority, a force that seemed to bend the light around her, to silence the hum of the market. "You dare question our trade?" she hissed, her voice a low growl that vibrated through the market, resonating with the hum of the stalls, her tail flicking sharply, her claws glinting in the prismatic light, her ears tilted back in a challenge. Elias met her gaze, unbowed, his posture steady despite the weight of her presence, his hazel eyes unyielding, a quiet strength radiating from him, a faint smile tugging at his lips as if he found her intensity amusing, a spark of defiance in his calm that seemed to light the air between them. "I'm not questioning your trade," he said, his voice soft but unyielding, a calm that cut through the tension like a blade, his hazel eyes locking on her amber ones, steady and warm, a beacon in her storm. "I'm questioning his math. Numbers are numbers, Commander. They don't care who's counting, human or Clitheran. They tell the truth, even when no one wants to hear it, even when it challenges your perfection." A ripple of laughter, like chiming crystals, spread through the crowd, but it was tinged with shock, the Clitheran's tails stilling, their ears swiveling toward the human who dared to stand his ground, their glows flickering with a mix of amusement and unease, their claws flexing as if grasping for an explanation, their eyes wide with the unexpected weight of his words. Vera's lips curled, a mix of disdain and amusement, her tail slowing to a thoughtful curl, her ears tilting slightly forward, her glow softening almost imperceptibly, her amber eyes studying him as if seeing him for the first time. A puzzle she couldn't solve, a spark she couldn't ignore, a flame that burned in the darkness of her certainty. He was no warrior, no scholar, the narrator in tones. But his quiet defiance was a spark in the dark, a flame that caught Vera's eye and refused to fade. She saw a human, fragile and fleeting, yet standing tall in a world that mocked him, and something stirred in her engineered heart, a ripple of curiosity, a whisper of doubt, a flicker of something she couldn't name but felt in the rhythm of her tail, the softening of her glow, the tilt of her ears, the retraction of her claws, as if the universe itself had paused to watch. The Clitheran Dominion was built on Aethra, the pursuit of perfection through discipline, unity, and the suppression of chaos, a philosophy etched into their very being, their culture a monument to control, their existence a testament to order. Their feline forms, engineered over millennia for agility, strength, and longevity, were nearly immortal, their bodies resistant to disease, their minds linked through neural lattices that allowed communication across vast distances, their thoughts flowing like light through crystal, seamless and instantaneous, a network that bound them as one, a collective mind that saw no need for the chaos of emotion. Their cities floated above Clithera's surface, suspended by gravitic fields, their architecture a blend of organic curves and crystalline precision, each building pulsing with the same bioluminescence as its people, a symphony of light and form that seemed to breathe with the planet itself, a testament to their mastery over the chaos of existence, a monument to their eternal dance. Their culture revered control, precision, and the eradication of emotion, which they viewed as a relic of their primitive past, a flaw to be purged through discipline and engineering, a weakness that had no place in their perfect world. Love, in particular, was a human indulgence, a chaotic force that led to disorder, mocked in their crystalline halls as a folly that only lesser species embraced, a distraction that the Clitherans had long since abandoned in favor of logic, order, and perfection, their tails rigid with the certainty of their path, their glow steady with the weight of their truth. Humans, by contrast, were galactic newcomers, their coalition a mere century old, their technology a patchwork of ingenuity, desperation, and stubborn refusal to give up, a testament to their refusal to bow to the universe's indifference, to the void's cold embrace. Their ships were clunky, pieced together with duct tape and dreams, their hulls scarred from battles they shouldn't have won, their engines powered by fuels the Clitherans deemed crude, their designs a testament to necessity over elegance, to survival over beauty, to heart over logic. Their lives were brief, a flicker compared to Clitheran centuries, but their resilience was unmatched. Their history a saga of triumphs born from chaos, wars won against impossible odds, planets colonized through sheer stubbornness, civilizations built on the edge of despair. Their spirit of fire that refused to be extinguished, a flame that burned in defiance of the void, a light that shone in the darkness of the cosmos. The summit was a facade, a cover for a crisis that threatened the Dominion's perfection. A rogue planet, Bumbra, hurtling toward Clitheran space, its core pulsing with an unknown energy that disrupted their neural lattices, destabilized their gravitic fields, and sent their floating cities trembling, their crystal spires humming with unease, their glows flickering like stars on the verge of collapse, their tails lashing with uncharacteristic agitation, their ears pinned back with the weight of their uncertainty. The Clitherans needed human ingenuity, their knack for solving problems under pressure, for finding solutions where logic alone failed. But their pride, as sharp as their claws, prevented them from admitting it. Their ears pinned back at the thought of needing help from a species they deemed inferior, their glows flaring with indignation. Instead, they framed the summit as a test, a chance to prove humanity's worth or expose its weakness once and for all. A stage where the humans would either rise or crumble under the weight of Clitheran scrutiny, their tails curling with anticipation, their claws glinting with the certainty of their superiority. The summit's first days were a gauntlet of Clitheran challenges, each designed to humiliate the humans, to lay bare their inferiority in the eyes of a species that saw itself as flawless, their tails curling with smug satisfaction, their ears twitching with amusement, their glows pulsing with the certainty of their victory. Tests of logic pitted human minds against neural-linked Clitherans, who solved complex puzzles in seconds, their glows brightening with smug satisfaction, their tails curling in triumph, their claws tapping rhythmically as they reveled in their superiority, their ears swiveling to catch every human misstep. Tests of strategy saw human plans unravel against Clitoran precision, their simulations flawless, their tactics honed over centuries, their minds linked in perfect harmony, their glow steady, their tails swaying with effortless grace. Tests of endurance left humans panting, their soft bodies no match for Clitoran stamina, their muscles burning while Clitoran fur barely ruffled, their tails swaying with effortless grace, their glow steady and unyielding, their claws retracted in quiet confidence. Elias, though not a delegate, was pulled into a holographic simulation, a battlefield where teams navigated a collapsing star system, stars imploding in bursts of blinding light, debris fields swirling like cosmic storms, and gravitational anomalies tearing ships apart like paper in a shredder. The chaos a mirror of the universe's indifference, a storm that cared nothing for perfection or pride. Paired with Vera, he felt the weight of her skepticism, her tail rigid with scorn, her ears pinned back, her amber eyes glinting with disdain, her claws tapping impatiently against the console, her glow pulsing with irritation, her voice sharp as she spoke. Her voice was a blade, cutting through the hum of the simulation. The narrator says, "Stay out of my way, human. Your kind lacks the clarity for this. You'll only slow me down. And I have no patience for weakness, for chaos, for your fleeting frailties, for the mess you call courage." But Elias's unorthodox tactics, using debris fields as shields, sacrificing virtual ships to save others, rerouting power in ways the Clitoran's rigid models hadn't considered, outmaneuvered the simulation's logic, turning chaos into opportunity, finding order in the storm, weaving a path through the void that no lattice could predict. He moved with a quiet focus, his hazel eyes scanning the holographic controls, his fingers deft despite the chaos, his mind racing to find patterns where others saw only destruction, his heart steady even as the simulation shook around him, his jumpsuit smudged with sweat and dust, a testament to his effort, his resolve, his humanity. When their team won, the Clitoran's glows flickered in shock, their tails stilling, their ears swiveling in disbelief, their claws flexing as if grasping for an explanation, their glows dimming as their certainty faltered, their ears tilting forward as if to hear the impossible truth. Vera's fur bristled, her claws flexing as she growled, "Luck!" Her voice low, almost a snarl, but her amber eyes lingered on him, her tail curling slowly, betraying her doubt, her glow softening as she studied him, her ears tilting forward as if drawn to his presence, to the spark that burned in his hazel eyes. She saw something she couldn't quantify, the narrator muses. A spark of chaos that burned brighter than her logic, a human who defied her every assumption, and it unnerved her, made her tail twitch, her glow falter, her ears tilt forward as if drawn to him, her heart stirring with a feeling she couldn't name, a feeling that felt like chaos, like hope, like something alive. Later, in the market, Elias was checking supply lists, his datapad glowing faintly under the prismatic sky, the hum of gravitic stalls surrounding him like a chorus, the air thick with the sense of alien spices and the buzz of trade, the light of glowing fruits casting soft shadows on his face, his jumpsuit smudged with dust, his fingers tracing the screen as he worked through the numbers, his mind focused on the mundane tasks that kept the delegation alive, that held the fragile thread of their survival. Vera approached, her armor dimmed to a soft glow, her tail swaying cautiously, her ears twitching with curiosity, her amber eyes studying him as if he were a puzzle she couldn't solve. Her claws retracted, her fur softening, her glow warm and steady, a beacon in the chaos of the market. "Why do you obsess over such menial tasks?" she asked, her voice sharp but tinged with genuine interest, her tail curling closer, her ears tilting forward, her glow softening as she leaned against the stall, her claws grazing its edge, her amber eyes locked on his hazel ones. Elias looked up, wiping sweat from his brow, his hazel eyes meeting her amber ones, a faint smile tugging at his lips, a quiet confidence in his gaze that belied his unassuming appearance, a spark that burned in the darkness of her certainty. "Someone has to make sure the food gets here, the medicine, the fuel," he said, his voice steady, calm, unapologetic, his words carrying a weight that belied their simplicity. a truth that cut through the chaos of the market, a truth that spoke of duty, of service, of heart. You fight wars, Vera. You lead with strength and precision, with centuries of skill, with a fire that burns eternal. I make sure we can keep fighting, keep living. It's not glory. It's just what needs doing, what keeps us going, what holds us together, what makes us human. His words were simple, yet they struck her like a pulse wave. The narrator notes, to Vera, duty was a dance of precision, a path to perfection, a performance for the ages, a legacy etched in crystal and light, a monument to control, to order, to Ethra. To Elias, it was service, quiet and unyielding, a choice made not for glory but for others, for the survival of those who depended on him, for the fragile thread that bound them all, for the heart that beat in the chaos. And in that difference, she glimpsed something she couldn't name, a warmth that unsettled her engineered heart, a spark that made her tail curl closer, her ears tilt forward, her glow soften, her claws retract as if in surrender to the moment, her heart stirring with a feeling she didn't understand but couldn't ignore, a feeling that felt like chaos, like hope, like love. The summit's true purpose emerged when Umbra's energy surges crippled a Clitheran outpost, its gravitic fields collapsing, its neural lattice silenced, its floating structures crashing to the surface in a shower of crystal shards, their glows fading like dying stars, their hums faltering as the planet shook, the air thick with the tension of impending doom, the tails of the Clitherans lashing with uncharacteristic fear. The humans were tasked with joining a mission to investigate, a move Vera opposed with a ferocity that surprised even her tail lashing, her ears flat against her head, her claws glinting in the crystalline light of the council chamber, her amber eyes flashing with something close to fear, her glow unsteady as she stood before her superiors, her voice raw with emotion. "They'll die out there," she snarled, her fur bristling, her tail a whip of agitation, her claws flexing as if to claw back the decision, her glow flickering with a passion she couldn't name. Her superiors, their glows steady, their tails calm, their ears still, overruled her, seeing a chance to test human limits, to push them until they broke under the weight of the void, their claws tapping rhythmically as they calculated the risks, their eyes glinting with the certainty of their logic. Elias volunteered, not for glory, not for recognition, but because he knew the team needed someone to manage resources in the chaos, someone to keep the lights on, the air flowing, the wounded patched up, the mission alive, the hope burning, the spark of humanity alive in the darkness. Vera watched him go, her fur prickling, her tail still, her claws flexing, a strange ache in her chest she couldn't explain, a feeling that defied her centuries of discipline, a pull that made her want to follow him, to protect him, to keep him safe, to hold onto the spark they'd found in the market's chaos. In the quiet moments under the prismatic sky, she had seen centuries pass, battles won, enemies crushed, the narrator says. But this human, with his quiet resolve, stirred something new, a fear she didn't recognize, a need to protect that defied her logic, a pull that made her claws flex, her glow falter, her heart race, her ears tilt toward him even as he walked away, her tail curling as if to hold on to him. Aboard a Clitheran skiff, Elias and Vera worked side by side, tension crackling like static in the confined space, the hum of the ship's systems blending with the distant roar of Umbra's energy waves. The void outside a swirling chaos of light and shadow, a storm that threatened to swallow them whole, a darkness that cared nothing for their lives. The skiff hummed through the void, its hull glowing against the darkness, a fragile beacon in a sea of chaos. The narrator paints the scene. Vera, all precision and command, her tail rigid with focus, her claws tapping the controls, her ears swiveling to catch every sound, clashed with Elias, whose quiet suggestions, check the secondary relays, reroute power through the auxiliary grid, stabilize the gravitic field, kept the ship functional as Umbra's energy waves battered it, shaking the hull like a leaf in a storm, the stars outside blurring into streaks of light, the void a canvas of chaos that tested their resolve. When a surge disrupted Vera's neural link, her mind clouded, her claws scrabbling at the controls, her ears pinned back in panic, her glow flickering erratically, her tail lashing as she fought to regain control. Elias guided her to safety, his hands steady on her armored shoulders, his voice calm through the chaos, a beacon in her disorientation, his hazel eyes steady as he met her amber ones, his presence an anchor in the storm, his warmth a light in her darkness. Breathe, Vera. I've got you. In that moment, she felt his warmth, not just of body, but of spirit. The narrator whispers, a human, fragile and fleeting, had anchored her when her perfection failed, and her tail brushed his leg, an unconscious gesture that sent a shiver through them both, a moment that lingered in the silence of the void, a spark that burned brighter than the stars outside, a connection that defied the chaos around them, a bond that felt like home. Back on Quithera, a fragile truce formed, a thread of understanding woven in the chaos of the market, where the hum of trade and the glow of stalls created a world of their own, a sanctuary amid the storm, a place where two souls could meet. Vera sought Elias out, her tail curling thoughtfully, her ears twitching as she found him by a stall selling glowing fruits, their light casting soft shadows on his face, his jumpsuit smudged with dust, his datapad glowing faintly as he worked through his lists, his mind focused on the mundane tasks that held the delegation together. They sat together, the hum of trade surrounding them, the prismatic sky above painting their faces in hues of violet and gold, the air thick with the sense of alien spices and the buzz of life, the pulse of a world alive with possibility. Elias shared an old Earth song, its melody raw and aching, played from his battered datapad, its notes rising above the market's chorus, a haunting refrain that seemed to echo the human spirit, fragile, fleeting, yet unyielding, a fire that burned in defiance of the void, a light that shone in the darkness of the cosmos. She listened, her glow dimming, her ears tilting forward, her claws retracted. The narrator says, her tail stilled, her amber eyes wide with wonder, her first softening as the music stirred something in her, a feeling she couldn't quantify, a chaos she didn't understand but longed to grasp, a spark that made her heart race, her glow soften, her ears tilt toward him, her tail curl closer as if to hold on to the moment. He told her of human myths, stories of sacrifice, of love that defied logic, of heroes who were ordinary until the moment demanded more, their lives brief but blazing, their hearts burning with a fire that outshone the stars, their spirit a testament to the power of chaos, of hope, of love, of connection. Vera's for softened, her tail curling closer to him, her claws grazing the edge of the stall as she leaned in, her amber eyes searching his, her glow warm and unsteady, her ears tilted forward as if he were the only sound in the universe, her heart racing with a feeling she couldn't name. "Why do you cling to such disorder?" she asked, her voice soft, almost a whisper, her tail brushing his arm, a touch that sent a shiver through him, a gesture that spoke of trust, of connection, of something eternal. Elias smiled, hesitant, his heart pounding, his hazel eyes bright with something unspoken, something raw, something that felt like home, like hope, like love. Because it's what makes us human. This messy, chaotic, but it's ours. This why we keep going, even when we shouldn't, even when the odds say we're done, even when the universe tells us to give up. It's what makes us fight, what makes us hope, what makes us love, what makes us alive. Their conversations grew over weeks, stolen moments in the market amid the hum of trade, the glow of stalls, the prismatic sky above, the air thick with the sense of alien spices and the buzz of life, a world that seemed to pulse with their growing connection, a world that seemed to hold its breath as they spoke. Vera shared fragments of Clitheran lore, tales of their first ascent to the stars, when their ancestors clawed their way from the jungles of Clithera, their fur matted with blood, their claws sharp with desperation, their hearts still raw with emotion, still alive with passion. Tales of battles fought with blades of light, their glows flaring in the darkness, their tails lashing with fury, their ears pinned back with resolve. Tales of a time when emotions still guided them, before Ithra reshaped their hearts, before discipline became their god, before love was deemed a flaw to be purged, a chaos to be tamed. Elias listened, his hazel eyes bright, his questions gentle but piercing, cutting through her armor to the soul beneath, his voice a steady anchor in the chaos of her thoughts. his presence a warmth that made her glow soften, her tail curl closer, her ears tilt toward him, her claws retract as if in surrender to the moment. He saw her not as a commander, not as a Clitheran, but as Vera, the narrator says. And she, who had never known vulnerability, felt her heart stir, her tail brushing his arm, her glow softening in his presence, her claws gentle for the first time in centuries, her ears tilting toward him as if drawn by a force she couldn't name, a force that felt like chaos, like hope, like love, like something alive. One evening, under the molten sky, she touched his hand. Her claws retracted, her fur warm, her amber eyes wide with something new, fear, wonder, longing, a chaos she didn't understand but couldn't resist, a spark that made her heart race, her glow falter, her tail curl around him, a gesture that felt like trust, like home. Elias's breath caught, his fingers lingering near hers, the air between them heavy with unspoken possibility. The market's hum fading as the world narrowed to just them, their hands inches apart, their hearts beating in sync, their bond a flame that burned brighter than the chaos around them, a light that no darkness could extinguish. The summit reached a crisis when Umbra's trajectory shifted, its energy surges threatening Clither itself, destabilizing the floating cities, sending crystal spires trembling, their glows flickering like dying stars, their hums faltering as the planet shook, the air thick with the tension of impending doom, the tails of the Clitherans lashing with uncharacteristic fear, their ears pinned back with the weight of their uncertainty. The Clitherans, paralyzed by their reliance on predictive models, debated endlessly in their crystalline halls, their glows flaring with frustration, their tails lashing in unison, their claws glinting in the light, their ears pinned back in agitation, their logic failing in the face of chaos, their perfection crumbling under the weight of the unknown. Elias, poring over data in a quiet corner of the market, surrounded by the hum of gravitic stalls, the scent of glowing fruits, the buzz of trade, proposed a radical plan. Detonate a human fusion core in Umbra's path to alter its course, a desperate gamble born of human improvisation, a spark of chaos in a world of order, a plan that defied the Clitherans' rigid calculations, their flawless models, their unyielding logic. The idea was dismissed as reckless, the Clitherans' fur bristling, their claws glinting in indignation, their glows pulsing with scorn, their tails whipping in unison, their ears flat with disdain, their eyes glinting with the certainty of their superiority. Vera, standing among them, felt her heart race, her tail stilling as she remembered Elias's scanner in the market, his quiet defiance, his warmth in the skiff, his voice anchoring her in chaos, his hazel eyes steady even when the world shook, his presence a beacon in her darkness, a light in her storm. She saw him, truly saw him, the narrator says, and against centuries of logic, against the weight of her people's pride, she spoke, her voice a beacon in the storm, her tail low, her glow steady but warm, her ears tilting forward, her claws retracted, her heart laid bare. He sees what we cannot, she said, her voice trembling, her amber eyes meeting his across the room, wide with newfound respect, her glow a testament to her conviction, her tail curling as if to hold onto the moment, her ears tilted toward him as if he were the only truth in the room. Trust him. It was the moment she broke, the narrator intones. Vera, who had lived centuries without doubt, saw in Elias a strength she'd never known. The courage to act when logic alone wasn't enough, the heart to risk everything for others, the fire of a fleeting life that burned brighter than her eternal one, a spark that lit something within her she couldn't deny, a flame that made her heart race, her glow soften, her tail curl closer, her ears tilt toward him, her claws retract as if in surrender to the chaos, to the hope, to the love she felt. The Clitherans stared, their glows flickering, their ears twitching, their tails stilling, their claws flexing as if grasping for understanding. But her words carried the weight of her rank, her conviction, her truth, a truth born of chaos and courage, a truth that defied their logic, their perfection, their ethera. The mission was approved, but it required a pilot to deliver the core manually. A near-suicidal task, a journey into the heart of chaos where survival was a whisper, not a promise, a gamble that demanded everything, a sacrifice that only the brave or the foolish would make. Elias volunteered, his face calm, his hazel eyes burning with resolve, his hand steady despite the weight of the decision, his heart heavy with the knowledge of what it might cost, his mind focused on the lives that depended on him, the hope that burned within him, the spark of humanity that refused to be extinguished. Vera, furious, confronted him in the market, her claws flexing, her fur bristling, her tail a whip of agitation, her amber eyes blazing with something raw, something human, her ears flattening as she stepped closer, her glow unsteady, her voice breaking, her heart laid bare. "Why risk your life?" she growled, her claws trembling as they hovered near his arm, her tail curling around her, a gesture of vulnerability, her glow dimming as if to shield her heart, her ears tilted toward him as if to hold onto his voice. "You're no warrior. You're—" She stopped, her ears flattening, her claws retracting fully, her first softening as she leaned closer, her amber eyes wide with fear, with longing, with something she couldn't name but felt in every fiber of her being. A chaos that was both terrifying and beautiful. Elias smiled, soft and sad, his hand brushing hers, a fleeting touch that sent a shiver through her, his hazel eyes locking on hers, steady and warm, a beacon in her storm, a light in her darkness. "Because if I don't, who will? I'm not special, Vera. I'm just here, and this is what needs doing. This is how we save them. All of them, human and Clitheran, together." Her heart, engineered to be unyielding, cracked, the narrator says. She saw not weakness, but a fire that burned brighter for its fragility, a courage that outshone her own, a soul that dared to love in a universe that mocked it, a human who saw her as more than a commander, more than a Clitheran, who saw her as Vera, who made her feel alive, who made her heart race, her glow falter, her tail curl closer, her ears tilt toward him, her claws retract as if in surrender to the chaos, to the hope, to the love she felt. She stepped closer, her claws grazing his arm, a touch both tentative and fierce, her tail curling around his leg, her glow warm and unsteady, her ears tilting forward, her amber eyes wide with vulnerability, with fear, with something she couldn't name but felt in every fiber of her being. A chaos that was both terrifying and beautiful, a spark that burned brighter than the stars. "Don't die," she whispered, her voice breaking, her claws retracting fully, her first softening as she leaned closer, the market's hum fading to nothing, the prismatic sky above a witness to their bond, to the flame that burned between them. Elias's throat tightened, his hand hovering near hers, the air between them heavy with unspoken possibility, their hearts beating in sync, their bond a flame that burned brighter than the chaos around them, a light that no darkness could extinguish. "I'll try," he said, his voice barely audible, his smile a promise, his heart pounding with the weight of what he felt, his hazel eyes shining with a love he didn't dare name but felt in every breath, every beat, every moment, a love that felt like eternity, like home, like hope. The mission was chaos, a descent into the heart of the void, a dance with destruction itself, a gamble against the universe's indifference, a challenge to the cold logic of the stars. Elias piloted a modified human shuttle, its hull groaning against Umbra's energy waves, the cockpit rattling as alarms blared, red lights flashing across his face, sweat beading on his brow as he fought to keep the ship steady, his hands gripping the controls with a quiet determination, his hazel eyes focused on the mission, on the lives that depended on him, on the hope that burned within him despite the chaos, on the spark of humanity that refused to be extinguished. Vera, monitoring from the Clitheran command center, her tail rigid, her claws digging into the console, her ears pinned back, her glow fierce with determination, broke protocol to join him in a second craft, her fur bristling with resolve, her amber eyes burning with a fire that matched his own, her claws tapping the controls with a precision born of centuries, her heart pounding with a need to protect him, to keep him alive, to hold onto the spark they'd found in the market's chaos. In the quiet moments under the prismatic sky, the stars blurred as they raced toward destiny. The narrator says, "Two souls, one human, one Clitheran, bound by a thread neither could name, their hearts beating in defiance of the void, their courage a beacon in the darkness, their bond a flame that burned brighter than the chaos around them, a light that refused to be extinguished, a love that defied the cold logic of the stars. Elias's voice crackled over the calm, steady despite the chaos, his hands gripping the controls, his hazel eyes scanning the readings, his heart steady even as the shuttle shook, the void closing in, the stars outside blurring into a chaotic storm of light and shadow. Vera, you shouldn't be here. Go back. This is too dangerous. Her growl was fierce, her claws tapping the controls, her tail rigid, her ears flat, her glow pulsing with defiance, her voice raw with emotion, her heart laid bare. You don't get to decide that, human. I'm here, and I'm not leaving you. Not now, not ever, not when you're all I. She stopped, her ears flattening, her glow faltering, her tail curling as if to shield her heart. But her words hung in the air, a truth she couldn't take back, a truth that burned brighter than the stars, a truth that felt like love. As Elias deployed the core, an energy surge threatened to destroy his shuttle, its hull sparking, its systems failing, the cockpit shaking violently, the controls slipping from his grasp, the alarm screaming as the void closed in, the stars outside blurring into a chaotic storm of light and shadow, the universe indifferent to their struggle. Vera, defying orders, used her ship's gravitic field to shield him, her vessel taking the brunt of the blast, its hull buckling, its systems screaming, its lights flickering as the energy tore through it, her claws gripping the controls, her glow flickering, her fur singed, her ears pinned back, her tail rigid with resolve, her heart pounding with a fierce determination to protect him, to keep him alive, to hold onto the spark they'd found in the market's chaos, in the quiet moments under the prismatic sky, in the moments that felt like love. She was a warrior, a commander, but in that moment, she was more. She was his shield, his anchor, his equal, a soul bound to his in the chaos of the void, a heart that dared to love in a universe that called it weakness, a flame that burned brighter than the stars. The narrator says. The core detonated, a blinding flash that lit the void, a pulse of light that nudged Umber off course, saving Clithera, its city steady once more, its spires gleaming under the prismatic sky, its glows bright with relief, its hum steady with hope, its people forever changed by the spark of humanity that had burned in their midst. In the aftermath, Elias found Vera in the wreckage of her craft, her fur singed, her glow faint but alive, her tail limped against the scorched hull, her claws retracted, her ears twitching faintly, her amber eyes flickering with life, her breath shallow but steady, her heart still beating, still burning. He carried her to safety, his hands trembling not from fear, but from the weight of what he felt, his heart pounding as he cradled her, his hazel eyes scanning her for signs of life, his breath catching as she stirred, her glow steadying, her ears tilting toward him, her tail curling faintly as if reaching for him. He didn't speak of love, the narrator whispers, but it was there, in the way he held her, in the way her claws gently curled against his chest, her tail brushing his arm, her breath warm and ragged against his neck, her glow steadying as she felt his warmth, his presence, his heart, a connection that burned brighter than the stars, a bond that felt like eternity. She looked up at him, her amber eyes soft, vulnerable, her glow brightening slightly, her ears tilting forward, her claws grazing his arm, a gentle touch that spoke of trust, of connection, of something eternal, her tail curling around him, a gesture of intimacy that sent a shiver through him, her glow warm and steady, her heart laid bare. I was wrong, she murmured, her voice raw, her tail curling around him, her ears tilted toward him as if he were the only sound in the universe, her amber eyes shining with a truth she couldn't deny. You are more. Elias's throat tightened, his hand resting on hers, their fingers entwining, her claws gentle against his skin, her glow a beacon in the chaos, her tail curling around him, a touch that felt like home, like hope, like love. Just human, he said, his smile bright, his hazel eyes shining with unshed tears, his heart full of a love he didn't dare name but felt in every breath, every beat, every moment. A love that burned brighter than the stars above, a love that felt like eternity. The summit ended with a new alliance, the Clitherans humbled by humanity's tenacity, their floating cities safe, their pride tempered by a newfound respect, their glows softer, their tails less rigid, their ears more open to the chaos of human ingenuity, their claws gentler in the light of what they'd learned, their hearts stirred by the spark of humanity that had burned in their midst. Vera, recovering, sought Elias in the market square, where it all began, the hum of trade surrounding them, the glow of stalls casting soft light on her fur, the prismatic sky above painting their faces in hues of violet and gold, the air thick with the sense of alien spices and the buzz of life, the pulse of a world alive with possibility. Her tail curled around her, a shy gesture, as she approached, her armor discarded, her glow warm and steady, her ears tilting forward, her amber eyes wide with wonder, her claws retracted, her fur soft and shimmering, her presence a beacon in the chaos, a light that burned for him. "You are not weak," she said, her voice low, her claws retracted as she reached for his hand, her fur brushing his skin, a touch that sent a shiver through him, her tail brushing his side, a soft, intimate gesture that spoke of trust, of connection, of something eternal. Her amber eyes locked on his, her ears tilted toward him as if he were the only sound in the universe, her glow a testament to the love she felt, the love she couldn't deny. "You are everything." Elias's heart raced, his fingers tightening around hers, her tail curling around him, her glow a beacon in the chaos of the market, her amber eyes shining with a love she didn't name but felt in every fiber of her being. A love that defied her logic, her discipline, her world. A love that burned brighter than the stars. "Just human," he said, his voice thick, his smile bright, his hazel eyes shining with a love that needed no words. A love that felt like eternity, like home, like hope. A love that burned in defiance of the void. They stood together under Clithera's molten sky, a human and a Clitheran. Their differences no longer a divide but a bridge. Their hands entwined, her tail curling around him, her glow soft and warm, a testament to the power of connection in a universe vast, cold, and unforgiving, a flame that burned brighter than the chaos around them. And so, the narrator concludes, in a galaxy that mocked their frailty, humanity proved its strength, not in might, but in heart, in the courage to love, to risk, to hope, to stand against the void and choose connection over chaos, to choose each other over the cold logic of the stars, to choose love over the certainty of Aethra. For in the unseen fire of their spirit, they found love, and in love, they found eternity, a flame that would burn beyond the stars, a bond that would echo through the cosmos forever, a light that no darkness could extinguish, a truth that no lattice could quantify. The story fades, leaving the audience with the image of two figures in the bustling market, silhouetted against a shimmering sky, their hands entwined, her tail curling around him, her glow a beacon in the chaos, her amber eyes locked on his, a testament to the power of love in a universe that dared to call it weakness, a flame that burned brighter than the stars, a bond that defied the void, a love that felt like eternity, like home, like hope, like forever.